I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. And when those blue or snowflakes are falling, that's when those blue memories.
What the hell's going on around here? There was some weird, like, repeating on and on, like Groundhog Day.
Right, like a bottom bounce reverb effect.
What the hell's going on? It's Christmas around here, man. Jeez. Starting off, problems. Look at that. But you know what? We adapt, we overcome. There's no problems. Because it's Jimmy, Epic Journeyman, Bruce McDonald, Rockin' Rio. And it's your Merry Christmas Eve here on Aftermath FM. So twist yourself up a fat YULE log and sit on back and enjoy.
Ayo.
There you go. Come on in here, Rockin' Rio. Are you there? No
I am here.
Excellent. No intros tonight. It's Christmas Eve. I'm taking a rest.
Isn't it Christmas Day?
Well, maybe it is for some. Maybe for Rockin' Rio.
Yeah, it is here, technically.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, brother. Merry Christmas.
And thank you. And to everyone listening, too.
There you go. Well, listen. Let's start the show.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red.
Let's not have a beautiful blue Christmas. Let's just have a beautiful day.
The heart is a blue, shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room.
It's Aftermath FM.
To rent in this town.
Merry Christmas.
Out of luck. And the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck. And you're not moving anywhere. You thought you found a friend to take you out of this place. Someone you can lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
Hello?
Yeah, where's Paul?
Who's calling?
I'm calling about the job, salesperson.
Hold on. Hello?
Yeah, Paul.
Speaking.
What do you need me to sell, babe?
Excuse me?
What do you need me to sell? I'm calling about the salesperson job.
What do I need you to sell?
Yeah, sell cars? What's the story here?
You sell cars?
You got it.
Where do you sell them?
I sell them up in Middletown, upstate New York. I had a little problem over there, though. That's something I don't want to talk about.
Middletown?
Yeah,
Okay. What's your name?
Paul. Paul Rizzo.
Paul what?
Paul Rizzo.
Rizzo?
Yeah,
Where do you live?
I live upstate.
Okay. That's a long haul from,
Yeah, well, you know, for some people, maybe.
Okay.
Let's talk about selling cars, Paul.
Okay.
I could sell whatever you need sold, I'll sell it. Bring in a tank, I'll sell the fucking thing.
Yeah, how far away do you live, though?
About 60 miles.
60 miles?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm there early every day.
I'm worried about mileage on a car.
Don't worry, I'll use my own car, Paul.
Okay.
I'll drive it silly. Silly.
Now, why do you want to drive 60 miles to go to work?
Hey, that's my business. You want to sell cars through me or what? See, I had problems up there in Middletown. I got to get the hell out of that area. I grabbed some guy. He's, he don't know if he wants to buy. I push his face right in the fucking hood. Tell you buy this fucking car, I'll break your fucking head. I had problems over there, Paul.
Well, it sounds like if you did that, you'd have problems anywhere.
It's hard times. These fuckers, they gotta buy. I need dough like anyone. So what do you think? We got something going here or what?
Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And know that notion just crossed my mind. This old engine makes it on time. Leave Central Station about 8:45. Hit Trevor Junction at 17-2 at a quarter. And you know it.
I thought we'd start it off with a little fun and games from the Jerky Boys, man. Oh, man, I gotta say, I don't know if it's a guy thing, like the Three Stooges. For some reason, women hate the Three Stooges, but for some reason, guys laugh at it. Getting, Mo, Shemp, the whole.
I think it's because it speaks to our inner child.
I don't know if it's the same way with the Jerky Boys, but I gotta say, some of those calls, man, the prank calls. Some of that stuff, man, is just really super funny. And that's one of them, Jerky Boys, car salesman. I was listening to this other one they got, it's called You Kicked My Dog.
Yeah.
And he calls up I guess he had some Indian neighbors from India. And so he prank calls his Indian neighbor and says that his daughter kicked his dog. in an Indian accent.
Okay, so you want to hear something horrible I used to do when I was a kid, about 14?
Yeah.
Well, actually about 15, 16, because my friend was already working at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't work until you were 16. So we used to do this, 2-3 times a year when we were bored. You call a McDonald's, and so I'm born in 66. This is like 1980. We're doing this shit, like 1980, 1981. You call a McDonald's, and you're the assistant to the scoutmaster, and you got a bus full of 12-year-olds, and there's 48 of them, and we'll be there in 25 minutes. What can you do quick? We just want to send the driver in to grab a big bag and pay cash. And you get it all worked out, like 48 Happy Meals and 28 root beers, and then you just never show. And they would for years they did this, and then they finally changed their policy. And we figured that out because my buddy was working at McDonald's. Now, it's a horrible story because, food goes to waste and everything, but it's just the craziness you get up to when you're that age. It's just absolutely crazy.
What you're supposed to do is come in about half hour, 20 minutes maybe, it was still warm, and say, "Oh man, I was going to buy something, but man, I don't know," and start walking out, and hey, we got all these Happy Meals. Get like a $1 Happy Meal.
Well, here, I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to say this. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, given the current world situation, it is really hard not to go negative on stuff. So tonight, we're not going to go negative on anything. And so, the thing is let's see how many times we get triggered and want to go negative in this conversation, because you just said McDonald's. And I was immediately triggered to report a negative story about McDonald's.
Yeah, you see?
You see?
Yo, Jimmy.
Well, see,
You're
listen, I don't
you're
want.
walking into shadows, brother.
I
You're
know.
walking into shadows.
It's a fine line, man. But I'm in uncharted waters. That's what happens when you trailblaze. Okay, sometimes you get off in the deep, dark woods. You know, you got to come back out. You got to come back out. You got to get out of there, man.
It's a highly mixed metaphor, man. We're on the water. We're in the woods. We're
Fuck, man, we're everywhere. That's what I'm
all
saying.
over the place.
We're so spun out, you don't know where you are. You're somewhere in the ether space riding the square wave into the microcosm and my crew, whom I couldn't do it without.
in
Just
what
wanna
they
say.
call 2021.
Well, let's just say, here we are. You know, what year it is, does it really matter at this point? I mean, at this point, I'm happy for each and every moment. Like I was telling you earlier, man. You know, I wake up in the morning, I just wait for the good news, man. You know, people used to knock on my door and ask me if I had heard the good news. You know, and of course I hadn't. And I mean, anybody who hasn't heard the good news, when somebody knocks on the door and goes, "Hey, brother, have you heard the good news?" I mean, you're going to let them in, aren't you? Why wouldn't you let them in? Who doesn't want to hear about the good news? It's like seatbelts. You know, why wouldn't you wear one? You know, what are you, a rebel? You just felt like going through the windshield, you know, to show how tough we were or whatever. I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. It's a crazy mixed up world. And it's Christmas Eve, so we're going to do everything we can not to go negative. I wish we had a jar, you know, like in people put in their house when they're trying not to swear. When someone throws F-bombs too much. So every time you throw an F-bomb, you got to put $5 in that jar. I wish we had a jar. So anybody that goes negative's got to put $5 in the jar, man. So let's just have an imaginary jar. All right. Right now the jar's empty. All right. But I'll go ahead. I'll throw $5 in the jar just to tell people that the dude won the case against McDonald's and it has been deemed unfit for human consumption.
Are you going dark?
Well, I mean, it's kind of positive.
It's good
It is
news.
positive. Think about how many lives that'll save.
That's what I'm saying. So you guys decide if I got to put $5 in the bucket or not. On that, is that negative?
No, I think that's a positive. I think
Okay.
that's
All right.
that's a win for humanity right
All right,
there.
cool. Well, you're the three wise men over there. You know what I'm saying? You're the three wise men. So you decide $5 in the bucket or not.
So Bruce can have the frankincense and Rio can have the myrrh, and I'll go ahead and take the gold.
All right.
The three wise men, right?
The Magi.
Right, the Magi.
Yeah. So Mountain Devil's going to be joining us in a bit. As soon as I give her a 10-minute warning. And maybe we'll just wait for the top of the hour to bring her on because now do you guys
Who the Mountain Devil?
Oh, well, you'll just love the Mountain Devil. Let me just say that.
Yeah,
She's
I live on a mountain,
Well, she's
and I'm a devil.
well, she's a super positive lady that everyone will just absolutely love. I absolutely love her. She's fantastic, and I'm glad she's available to come and hang with us tonight, just to keep us on the straight and narrow path of positivity. You know, like I said, I mean, you know, it's easy to go negative, man. You know what I mean? It's super easy.
You breaking?
No. No,
Getting
no
close.
breaks, no commercials tonight, man. It's commercial-free Christmas Eve Aftermath FM. It's the Christmas Eve after party. It's the underground Christmas, and
It's Christmas, buddy.
it's the
not
alternative
Christmas
to
Eve.
the alternative Christmas. Well, where I'm at, homeboy, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but you're the ass end of the global time system.
That could be.
Well, actually, Epic's farther behind than he is,
I
isn't
know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's 8:44 here.
Is that the ring of fire that Johnny Cash was talking about?
I'm trying not to fall in.
Don't fall in the ring.
Hawaii is just literally in the middle of nowhere, right?
That's right. Well,
It
hey,
is. It's the farthest from anywhere on the planet other than Easter Island. It's two places, Rapa Nui and Hawaii.
Well, hey, here's a. Let's tell you what. I'll tell you what. Here comes a Hawaiian band right here. I'm gonna set the tone with some good vibrations right now. Mom's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. Merry Christmas. Ho ho ho.
Tripping on a cornerstone, not falling on this alone. And it's best not to stress all the little things. Take it easy as you go. You got me wondering why people be stressing, counting our blessings. I'm feeling high. It's time to live our life. So take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. Make it easy on yourself. So take it easy, easy. So take it easy, easy. With the hearts all tripping, don't know what they're missing. The condition got them wishing for the simple things we can write.
See, you feel better already, don't you? Get to decompress from the stress. There really hasn't been that much stress on this Christmas, though. I gotta say, I did notice. Normally they start stressing you out about Christmas in October or whatever, but this year they really didn't. It really wasn't like this overwhelming barrage factory of pop culture, shaping and driving forces to buy trends. This type of thing. I didn't see any of that really, and I mean, for the most part, I mean, I don't watch TV, so I don't know what that looked like, but really didn't see much on YouTube as far as Christmas was concerned. As far as any, being hammered by these commercials time and time again, I didn't really see much of it. And is that, is Christmas slowly disappearing? You know what I mean?
That was my question. I did the same thing. I looked at YouTube before coming on the show to see what, get a feel what everybody was talking about tonight, Christmas Eve and coming into Christmas and seeing what the holiday festivities were. And there was hardly anything, like almost nothing. Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I think it's like, they put that nativity scene out. They used to put it out. And then all of a sudden, the baby Jesus all of a sudden was turning up missing. I think the baby Jesus turned up missing. No? I think, didn't Halloween overtake Christmas as one of the most, money spent on that holiday? And that's not even a holiday, right? That's just what is that? It's not a holiday. What would you call
Excuse
that?
to party.
What is Halloween? Why do we even celebrate it?
It's the fall. It's the harvest time, right? It's the harvest moon, basically.
Well, I get that, but I mean, why did we start celebrating in the first place? Like, what made people? I mean, this must have been.
Well, it's always been a calendar point, even in pagan societies, agrarian societies, even hunter-gatherer societies, because that last fall moon is a hunting moon, right?
See, I'm gonna have to put $5 in the jar.
Yeah, so not a lot of people know. Not a lot of people know this because, when you go hunting with a license and you're 30-06 and a scope, moose hunting or whatever in Canada. I don't know what you guys hunt in. Is there any hunting in California, Jim? No.
There may be. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's hunting.
There's deer season.
Whether or not is legal hunting is another question. But I don't know.
So
season 2.
If you hunt for sustenance, like tribal peoples, okay? If you hunt for sustenance, your hunting is done at night. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
No, you didn't know it?
I did.
It depends what you're hunting for.
Yeah. They wait at the water hole. Waiting out the water hole.
Yeah, most hunting is done at night, and so the moon is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they follow the moon, and a lot these correlations between survival and astrology and all of these sorts of things, they go deep into our consciousness, right? But so it was Samhain was the holiday before Christmas, right? And then the Catholic Church tried to cover it up with something that they called All Saints' Day, and then it just got completely inverted into like Devil's Day, right? But yeah, it's that last 2 weeks of October have always been special in pagan calendars.
Mm-hmm. But I think it probably has something to do with these Mars and Hershey's selling candy at some point. I mean, I don't understand how all of a sudden it was like, here's America back in the 1800s, you know, all of a sudden. There's just like little Johnny from down the street is putting on some dressing up as a ghost and knocking on people's doors for candy. I don't know if did it go back that far? Does anybody even know how far it goes back? I mean, we know how far this Christmas holiday goes back, but how far back does this go, and why is it even relevant to a modern population is what I'm wondering. Like, how come it gets hammered so much, you know? It's all this, so much, you know, idolatry, you know, and you know, it's a pagan you know, tapestry of ghouls, goblins, witches, and magic, is it not?
Jesus.
$5.
You're like a guy. You're like a guy who quit smoking for 15 minutes.
Dude, yeah. Well, let me just say, I can't quit smoking for the same reason. It's the same. It's an addiction. See, you know what? I'm gonna start a 12-step program right now. Negativity. You know, 12 steps out to get how the 12 steps out of negativity. And listen to this, man. I got another one. Before I do the 12-step book, I'll do the power of negative thinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh man, it's all too much, isn't it? I mean, I guess what it is I mean, maybe I've just gotten toxic, and you know, now that Christmas is here, tomorrow I'll be with my family, and I'll have a piece of prime rib, you know, and a potato, and there'll be a fire in the fireplace, you know, and I'll be petting my dog, and just lay back with a smile on my face, kicking back, man. How's that sound? Start fresh tomorrow. I mean,
my friends in Canada have started putting photos of meat on Facebook with the price tag on in grocery stores in Canada. It's unbelievable, man. Like a 2-kilogram roast is like 300 Canadian dollars, which is about 260 US dollars.
It's an avalanche. See what I started? It's an avalanche, man.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Well, that's an
Santa, leave
economic.
me a steak under the tree.
Inflation isn't negative. It's just part of the climate of the man-made system, right?
So $200 for 4 pounds of meat? Is that what you're saying?
More than 200, man. Yeah.
Well, let me just say.
And 4.4 pounds. But it's a nice cut of meat. Don't get me wrong. Like
That better be some like filet mignon for that price.
Well, what are you guys paying in the what are you guys paying in
depending on the cut, anywhere from like $4 to $6, $8 a pound, maybe. I mean, you know, the real premium stuff is a little bit more, but you know, average like if you were going out and just getting an average sirloin steak, it's about $5 a pound, $4 a pound.
So see, like normally in a normal show, right now I'd be playing a video of this futuristic society that talks about all this. I think it's called something-opolis. I can't remember. Futureopolis, I think it's called.
Oh, Futureopolis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Futureopolis. But see, I won't, because then I got to throw $5 in the jar. Because you know,
Right.
I know. Look at all you did was bring up some meat, and now here we are, in the negative trenches again, stuck in the rabbit hole.
We got some faint
dark-
carnivore Santa Claus running around out there.
We're in
Stealing people's
we're in
meat.
the dank, dark rabbit hole, man. We got to come out, man. Come out of here, my people. Come out of the rabbit hole. No more rabbit hole. All right. Let's get Luna on the line.
You freed my soul.
'Cause I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl. 'Cause I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl. You give me love, and it's irate. You freed my soul. You keep our eyes and shrunk, keep my rules underground. You led me through the clouds. When I was down, you come around for my shit. 'Cause I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl. 'Cause I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl. Know that I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl. 'Cause I'm a roots girl, a roots girl, a roots girl.
Hey, Luna, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Jimmy. How you going?
Hey, I'm going good. How you doing? It's good to have you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you finally, eh?
Yeah, face to face even. It's good to see you.
Kind of.
So do you...
Can't see.
Here, hang on a second. Let me put on my camera. I thought it was on already. So, hey, good to see you. So,
Hey, yeah, good to see you. How you going? Merry Christmas, everybody.
yeah, Merry Christmas. Good to see you. So it's Christmas already for you, eh? The next...
Stay at 5:58.
All right. Well, we're super happy to have you because we're gonna spend tonight hanging out with people who might need a place to hang, might not have family or whatever. We're just hanging out here tonight. It's still Christmas Eve where I am and where Epic Journeyman is. But Rockin' Rio, it's already Christmas for him, and it's Christmas for you also. So how's it going? I know, tell everybody. So where are you precisely down in Australia? Yeah.
Okay. I'm in Sydney in the west, on the east coast of Australia in Sydney, but I'm at where the Blue Mountains are, at the bottom of the Blue Mountains, and the Blue Mountains, once you get over them, it breaks you into the rest of New South Wales, east coast, into open country, and that's where my people actually come from. So
Nice.
I'm on the side of the mountain.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to be. Well, I mean, under the current situation, I'm sure it's things are different, but I'm sure you're making do. How's everybody doing? Are you guys hanging tough with the current situation down there? Everybody.
Yeah, imagine. There's a lot of propaganda, I've got to say, Jimmy. There's a lot of propaganda, what you hear on the news, and that the numbers aren't true. In reality, there's a lot of us holding strong.
Mm-hmm.
Even in my people, we are sad that our Indigenous culture is being impaired, but there's still a lot of us holding strong. So we've lost a lot of uncles and aunties already, but there's a lot that are still, you got it, like you were talking earlier, you got to think of the positivity. We've got to think of those that are left and the knowledge that is left, and and spread it around. Keep it alive, share it is another way. That's why the whole point I got on the Kev show in the beginning was to share it, and it was before all this happened. And upstairs was kind of guiding me to do that, and then all this happened, and now other people have stepped up. You've probably heard of other black fellas out there, males and females, talking up now.
Yeah.
So, it's positive come out of it. Positive comes out of everything. You just got to choose to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of part of what we want to talk about tonight is, how we're going to move into the future. What's the future going to look like for us? And what's, I was talking to Bruce. He had to take off. I'm not sure what happened, but he'll be back hopefully. But I was talking to him earlier, and when I was talking to him about what I wanted to sort of talk about on the show tonight, and that is a reason for being. I think it's time for humanity to redefine, or people to try to redefine their reason for being. What's our reason to exist on this earth? It's not We don't exist to be born to work at a job so we can buy items supplied to us by the store. You know, there's a bigger, higher reason for all of us to be here, and I think that, you know, the fact that we're put onto this treadmill to perform and provide profits for people from birth till death is not a way for humanity to rise up and out of the current situation. Everybody's got their head down, putting their noses to the grindstone to make sure that they don't, you know, get 3 weeks out without any money coming in because they can't make it. You know, people 3 weeks out and they're getting thrown out of their house. They don't have money. Most people don't have any money in the bank. So I mean, this whole idea of how everything's built on this idea of capitalism, while this the yellow brick road, the golden road, is paved with the idea that you can just be some guy off the street and make $1 million in America. Yeah, you probably can. Somebody can. I mean, but, you know, what are the odds of that? But everybody can't. The rest of us have to pony up and throw down 40 hours of our life every week to some job to continue on our treadmill while our whole lives. So what I'm saying is, how do we, you know, what's a good way of changing our way of being or our reason of being? Epic Journeyman, are you there?
I am here.
So what about it, man? Reason for being. Is this why we exist? Do we solely come into this world to supply our lifeblood and our life energy and our life force, building widgets for some dude to make some fat money?
No. In fact, the best and most fulfilled I ever felt in my life was that time I spent living off the land here in Maui. I was on vacation, decided to stay, just brought back the rent-a-car, and all I had was a tent and mast flipper, snorkel, and a spear gun and a guitar, right? And I lived off the land for 3 months, and it was great. It was awesome. I loved it. I mean, there was times it rained so hard I couldn't deal with it, but that's part of it, right? But there's other times I had so much food and fish and a fire to share with people who were just visiting the island. It was an abundance. That was that feeling of fulfillment you had at the end of the day, of doing something that getting the food that you're eating and being able to share it with other people and tell stories around the campfire. I mean, that's what we're meant to do. It is. It's in our blood. It's in our genes. It really is.
Abundance is the word that I had picked out in what you were saying there, because that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to modern existence, is the fact that we feel, and we're made to feel, that we live in a world of lack. There is not enough of this or that. There's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. You better hurry up and make that money so you can buy some, because there's not enough. This type of thing. And I think living with the idea of, the hardest part about the abundance thing is that you have to have a deep understanding of gratitude. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to feel that you live in a world of abundance if you're not grateful for the little things in life. That you might not have all these things, but for some way you scrape by the skin of your teeth every month. It might not seem like a big deal. It might not seem like a big deal that you barely scrape by, but actually that's a blessing. You made it. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't look like you want it to. You're under a bit of stress, but you still made it. That's the thing. And so I think, establishing some sense of abundance for yourself would be a definite way to enhance your personal feeling about the world, man. And once you feel like you have enough, then how much more than enough does any of us need? More than enough. How much more than enough does anyone need? If you have enough, you have more than enough, then you have enough to, help somebody else out. You know what I mean? Making sure you got yours taken care of. Now you got a little extra. You can help other people. Right, Luna? I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I do actually. While you're talking, I was thinking of, you were talking about abundance, perpetual abundance, and that's what our people did. Everything we did was for the future generations, making sure that it will be there for them. But today we have this sustainability something which suggests it's only for the moment. And giving's part of our blackfellow. We have Christmas, right? People used to say to us, do Aboriginal people have Christmas? Well, we had a form of Christmas. It wasn't on today, obviously, but it was at the end of the year, and it was in abundant times. And what would do, all the excess that people had would go, they would plant poles in the ground, and all the excess people had, or if someone had travelled from another country where you got different colour of ochre or different kind of vegetation that we don't get in our area, or a special medicine gift or spiritual gift, they'd come and bring it and put it underneath the pole. And everyone who had extra would put all their extra stuff under the pole, so those that didn't have anything could come and take it. And they weren't greedy. They'd only take what they need, leaving what stuff there for other people to have what they need. And it's all about giving, Jimmy. If I give to you and you give to me, there's no taking.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this? There's this lesson story about the difference between heaven and hell, and it's a giant banquet, and there's every kind of food that you could ever want, and everyone's sitting there at this giant banquet table, and all the food is there, but there's giant utensils. You can't use the utensils to eat the food, but you can only see the food. So the only way out is to feed each other with those tools, to take that fork and feed the other person. That type of that idea is exactly what you're talking about. And I mean, that's the kind of idea that, I think a lot of people, when they see those advertisements on TV, and they see people in bad situations and they give up that money and stuff, I think they feel like they're doing their part in that way, or they give some money to the homeless person down the street or whatever. They feel like they're doing their little part that way, and it's always good to do that. But I mean, a lot of those organizations, they doesn't really get to where it's needed to go to. Listen, I'm going to bring in Mountain Devil. And I got to give her a connection here. I got to get her connected. And while I do, I'm going to play this here song. And it's a good one. And let's see here. All right, listen, I'll get us started here with this. Mom's Jimmy. That's Luna, from down in Australia. Now, Luna, are you part of a specific tribe?
Yeah, I'm a Wiradjuri Gamilaroi woman. I got two mobs. They're both in New South Wales, but Wiradjuri goes all the way down to Canberra, which is at the southern end of New South Wales. And the Gamilaroi goes all the way up to the border of Queensland, and the Gamilaroi mob there, we're known as the peacekeepers, because our land actually borders the river, and the river is the neutral place.
I see.
So we're the neutral people. So yeah, I'm a Gamilaroi Wiradjuri woman, but we follow, because I'm female, I'm supposed to follow my mother's side, which is Wiradjuri, the female side of our mob. But I can't deny the Gamilaroi in me that comes from the male, because I'll just be denying part of myself. And it does come out, and you can't stop it.
No.
But in our tradition, I was supposed to follow the southern Wiradjuri, but it comes out in me both ways. And I'm also I've been named as well, but I was named by the top end, the mob at the top end in Arnhem Land and Darwin. I don't know if anyone's ever seen any one of them mobs. They're still very, very traditional, to a point where any of us that come in, they will pick who's allowed in by their spirit. You've got to have the right spirit to go in there, otherwise they won't let you in. They came down here and found me and gave me the name my name, which means water lily, because I'm a healer and a weaver, and a star person, and that's the name that describes me. So when I travel now, I say that's who I am. I'm a Wiradjuri Gamilaroi water lily woman. But I'm also a goanna snake woman. And I know it's all confusing, but these are just different parts.
I'm fascinated.
Describe where I come from, who I am, what the land is, and my place in the community. And by speaking my name and my totems and my mob, they know exactly who I am.
Now we forgot to ask Rock and Rio. What about you? State of being and like creating a new state of being or the idea of one. Because I mean, you know, I think moving into the future, I think the state of the world that we live in will probably be the one that we create for ourselves. If we, move into a rural setting or finding like-minded people to be around, this type of thing. What do you think about it, Rock and Rio? State of being. Are we here just to produce for the man? And have them take 30% off of us, and then take the rest of it in rent, car payments, gas, and food.
Well, I think we've been suckered into that.
Me too.
But I don't think that is our purpose to being here.
No. Well, I mean, what do you, like we were just saying? We brought up abundance and lack, and that one of the reasons that the state of being is that we're in lack. And we need to continue to resupply our money supply, or else we end up in the dirt or whatever. So we're on this constant treadmill that never ends, and so let's try to figure out ways we can do that. And so Mountain Devil's ready to come on board. Rock and Rio, you wanna go ahead and grab her? I'm gonna grab her. So are you ready? Everybody ready for the Mountain Devil? She's coming. But in the meantime, while I do that, let's do this, and then we'll be right back with the Mountain Devil, Luna, Epic Journeyman, Rock and Rio, and it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. And it's Christmas Eve on the West Coast, Christmas Eve on the islands, so it's still not quite Christmas, but Christmas enough.
Bring your songs from the woods to make you feel much better than you could know. Better than you could Dust know. You down from tip to toe. Dust you down from tip to toe. Show you how the garden grows. Show you how the garden grows. Hold you steady as you go. Hold steady as you join the chorus if you can. It'll make of you an honest man. Let me bring you love from the fields. Poppies red and roses filled with summer rain. Meanwhile, back in the year one, when you belonged to no one, you didn't stand a chance, son, if your pants were undone. 'Cause you were bred for humanity and sold to society. One day you'll wake up in the present day, a million generations removed from expectations of being who you really want to be. Skating away, skating away, skating away on the thin ice of a new day. So as you push off from the shore, won't you turn your head once more and make your peace with everyone? For those who choose to stay, who will live just one more day to do the things they should have done. And as you cross the wilderness, spending in your emptiness, you feel you have to pray, looking for a sign that the universal mind has written you into the passion play. Skating away, skating away, skating away on the thin ice of a new day. And as you cross the circle line, well, the asphalt creaks behind. You're a rabbit on the run, and the silver splendors fly in the corner of your eye, shining in the setting sun. Well, do you ever get the feeling that the story's too damn real and in the present tense?
There he goes. Jethro Tull. Skating away on the thin ice of a new day. Mountain Devil, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent.
Hello, hello, hello to everyone. Much peace, love, and harmony.
Now,
And nothing better than to get up from a cat nap with a bit of Jethro.
I know. Well, let me introduce you, Mountain Devil, to Luna. Is over in Australia. Luna, Mountain Devil. Mountain Devil, you know Rio, and of course, I'm sure you know Epic Journeyman. So
Of course.
yeah, so we just wanted to welcome you into the microcosm, because tonight, it's Christmas Eve, and then of course Christmas for a lot of folks. But we wanted to stay on the positive vibes tonight, and so what we're kind of getting into is we're talking about our reason for being. In other words, we don't, before you jumped on here, what we're saying is we don't exist simply to supply our life energy to buy things and supply, other people with profits, while we make widgets that we got to go down to the factory to make the widget to get money to buy the bread. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's like it doesn't seem like we have a freedom. So I think if we had a state of being that, was different than the one that we're in, something that doesn't look like capitalism but isn't quite communism, something in between, like maybe some sort of no masters, no slaves, maybe some sort of an anarchy type of situation. I don't know. Well, that's what we're talking about. What about you now? State of being. What do you think? How can we change the state of being, or can we just change the state of being within our situation? Because obviously we can't all not work and quit the system. This is we have to exist. But what do you think moving into the future? I mean, what can we do to maybe change our state of being? Like right now.
Well, to be willing to echo. To be willing to have a leap of faith into beingness, basically. And yes, I agree with what you said. We shouldn't. It's not about working for the possessions. The possessions are cool, all that. Yeah, I love my gadgets, this, that, and the other. But it's not about that. That is a plus thing, but it's about the leap of faith into beingness, into actually remembrance of that whom we are, and that releases from shackles of the spell that was cast on us. But the spell that was cast on us was not just cast on us, we casted it together with it's a relationship with the ones that cast the spell, basically. So we have to be willing to do that leap of faith. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Now, Epic Journeyman, Arda.
I am still here.
Excelente. Well, listen, man, jump in here, because old Jimmy's going to roll out to the coffee pot and get myself a hot cup of coffee, because it's Christmas Eve, and, I deserve a hot cup of coffee, and I'm I'm gonna make sure my
You do, or cold eggnog, one of the two.
There you go. Maybe you're gonna have an eggnog. Maybe you're gonna have a coffee. Now, see, while I'm getting my coffee, I'm also gonna roll a fat log and smoke. I'm gonna smoke that bad boy when I get back. 'Cause I mean, there's nothing more positive than a positive vibration coming out of a good old YULE log, California style. so, so listen, we're here. We don't have to be all serious, man. Let's step back from the way of being for a second. Let's just kick back, everybody. Let's relax. Take a nice sip of your wine.
Relax in Nine Toe Taxi.
Exactly. Epic Journeyman, give Mountain Devil a foot massage, and when you're done there, Rockin' Rio is next. Because I know you don't discriminate.
Hey, can you do Catwoman? You know, I wrote a song that needs that, actually. I've been trying to find someone who can do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so
Nice.
so now
See, it's appreciation of little miracles and finding things like that makes life worth living. See?
before I go though, let's clear things up with people. Let people know what Mountain Devil actually, why you're called Mountain Devil. What is the Mountain Devil? I mean, besides the deeper question, I mean, let's just go off the surface. What is Mountain Devil?
Mountain Devil is a healing herb from Australia. It's called Mountain Devil for a variety of reasons, as far as I was told. One of them is it's a beautiful flower, but it's got thorns, so it's thorny. And also another reason is because it's quite bushfire resistant. It keeps coming back,
you just met Luna, and Luna is in Australia now. Luna would know. Now, have you ever seen a Mountain Devil?
Call them devil's thorns. And when they got three big horns on them, when they go on your foot, you know it.
Wow. See, man, that is just so cool that you can talk about Mountain Devil and Luna is right there. And there you go. Boom. Look at Epic Journeyman and Luna, Mountain Devil, Rockin' Rio. Come on in here and get in here with the ladies. I'm going to mosey on out to grab my coffee. But like I said, we don't have to get too deep, right off the bat. We're just getting started. So you guys jump in and I'm gonna go. I'm getting my coffee right now. I'm walking out.
Yeah, I'm just only stretching myself as well. I just had a cat nap. I had 2 hours sleep. I've been up for nearly 24 hours. Came from a show, I had a cat nap, and here I am again.
I feel you. Cat nap, see?
Yeah, you know me. I'm all cat stuff. Paws and purrs.
So what made you use an Australian herb?
At the time, I was looking into that plant, beautiful plant, Mountain Devil, and I'm a healer, so I identify with crystals, plants. I identify with everything, really. And I was connecting a little bit with the flower itself.
See, that's why I was stoked to have both of you here, because you're both healers, and Luna's a native healer as well in Australia, and so I mean, I wanted to have a healing tonight, for all the people that need a little bit of healing, and that's what I was thinking about as far as the show is concerned. Now, I was walking out, but I heard you guys. I wanted to jump in and let you know that you guys are both healers, in case you didn't know. So say I was putting together a little dinner party here. Mm-hmm. See, here's the table. You got Rockin' Rio, Epic Journeyman, Luna, Mountain Devil, and myself, and we're all here to lay a healing on you. So yeah, it's Christmas Eve. Why not, right? Let it rip, So listen, I'll be back momentarily. But Epic Journeyman, there you go. Here's the keys to the boat. Here's the hat. I'll be back. Rockin' Rio. wrestle Epic Journeyman for the Skipper's Cup, man, if you need to. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rio's ready. He's got some stories to tell and questions to ask, I'm sure. Oh, are you there, Rio?
I am here.
Right on.
Yama Rio, Yama Epic.
Well, I've been, traveling down the memory lane here with you girls talking about Australia because I went there. I was in the Navy at the time in 1984, and I got 29 days leave, which is unheard of for a guy on submarines back in the day, right? And I rented a car, and I took off, and I went the wrong way. I started in Sydney, and I wanted to go check out the Barrier Reef and all that kind of stuff. I thought, well, I'll just take off in the direction go, right? So I instead of going up north and going through Brisbane and going to the Barrier Reef and hitting all that stuff, I went south and ended up in Canberra. So we were talking about Canberra, Illinois. They just built it. They just built it when I was there. Just a ghost town, right? Most boring, I won't say boring drive. I got to see a lot of kangaroos and emus and stuff along the way. But and then I got to see Bruce Springsteen in Australia in Melbourne. But one of the coolest things that you're talking about, the Blue Mountains, was there's another mountain range outside Adelaide, right? The Grampians.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know. They think of Australia as this place that's mostly desert, and indeed the interior is. But no, it's like Oregon. It's like Bridalveil Falls, like Seattle outside of Washington, not Seattle, outside of Washington or Vancouver, someplace like that, right? With the waterfalls and everything.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yeah, I went overseas when I was 16 to see what the rest of the world was like. I come back late on the ground as soon as I got off the plane and realised, I just hugged the mother and realised that everything's here. If you want snow, you got snow. You go to the snowy mountains down south. If you want desert, you go desert. If you want rainforest, you go up north. If you want something totally different, you go west. We got everything here. You just got to move around and find it. But the only thing we ain't got, and I saw a picture of America, yous have got so much water. We got nothing compared to you. Here I was living in my beautiful country thinking this is lovely and the rainforest has got lots of water and we're okay here if you're near a river. The desert even has water if you know how to find it, and it seemed okay to me. But when I saw how much water you fellas have got over there, my jaw dropped. We are dry compared to you fellas, I'm telling you.
Oh, Minnesota's practically all lakes, right? They call it land of 1,000 lakes, and or 10,000 lakes, whatever it literally is, And then you get all the rivers and the Great Lakes and all that stuff. Yeah, no, we're very lucky in that sense here. Now we could use more of it out where Jimmy is in California. California's getting most of its water from the Colorado River. From the ice pack, it melts and comes down and makes the Colorado River. And Arizona is fighting them for it right now. So our, I used to live in California too. The snowpack that's up in the northern Cascade Range and all that stuff in the California side, West Coast side, it's all gone before it gets down south to Los Angeles and San Diego. So they made a place that's actually a semi-desert into a really nice place, right, through artificial irrigation. Mm-hmm. And those water rights are going away. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. San Diego is actually the sister city of Sydney, right? On the world list or whatever, sister cities, I think it is.
I don't know. Right. I don't know, mate. Truly, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not like the what do they call that? The city clerk or whatever. Yeah. I just remember seeing it on a sign, I think, when I was there. But yeah, I love traveling around Australia because everybody's the people there are great, number one, and there's no. When I said I went the wrong way, ended up being great anyway. I was trying to go all the way around. I foolishly thought I could drive down through the south side, come over to Perth, and drive all the way around the country, right? Because everything's a coastal city, pretty much, right? And I got halfway on the south side. I didn't even get into the Great Australian Bight, and I camped in some wooded area in the outback, and my car got stuck in the sand. Yeah, and this is days before cell phones. This is 1984, right? And that put an end to that. It wasn't a 4-wheel drive car either, so it's my fault, right? But dug it out, took hours and hours and hours, and worked my way back. Went back to Sydney. But yeah, it was fun. I liked Adelaide a lot too. Adelaide was pretty fun.
Yeah, the cities are slightly different. Because some of them are real high tourist, so they've got that nice, happy, I'm on holiday feeling. some of them are more businessy, like Sydney is. We do have tourists, but it's more based on business there. Queensland's the holiday place, and it's got the nicer weather. Though the weather's changing, and Sydney's actually getting the weather that Queensland has, which is we used to have just hot summer, and the rain would come at the winter time, but now we're getting Queensland weather, which is it gets hot and then it hits a certain heat, and then the rain comes, which is wet weather season. So our summer's turning more into wet weather season than it is an actual summer. I don't know what's happening in the world there, but it seems like everything's moving because all the fish and that used to be up Queensland way have moved down south towards us. Even the birds. I've got birds here now that didn't belong here, and I've got 2 new ones that turned up in the last couple of weeks. They don't belong in this area, but they're coming. So there's shift, there's change is amidst the air.
Yeah.
Right. It's not no global warming in the sense of people's problems with the heat in Australia right now because it's your summer, right? And most everybody knows that, but I had to point that out that here it is Christmas and it's the equivalent of something like August over here in America, right? It's the peak of summer, right?
Yeah, it's hot here. We usually have turkey and a salad instead of all the baked hot stuff because we cook it the night before while it's cool and have a cold lunch mostly, unless you're brave and you've got all the great air conditioning and then you can have a hot lunch. But yeah, we have hot summer, and now Santas that get dressed up, they sweat and we laugh because they should be wearing shorts and short sleeve shirts, but Santa dresses up in his long sleeve stuff, and it's funny. Well, and I find it funny. I'd love to have a snowy Christmas. It would be delightful, I reckon.
We had snow here in Hawaii. I mean, it's not that unusual, but I mean, this time of year kind of was right around Thanksgiving time. Not in Lahaina or anything, right down on the beach, but up in the mountains, yeah. Obviously, Big Island happens pretty frequently in Mauna Kea, but in the winter. But we had it here in Haleakala on Maui too. So yeah, it's good to see that. It's too bad we don't get to see it on Christmas in Hawaii very often. It'd be cool if it did. Give you that Charles Dickens kind of feel, right?
Yeah. And you're in Hawaii. That I don't know how spiritual you are, but the energy there is supposed to be very spiritual and ancient. Do you find that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing about living in Hawaii is if you don't believe in karma before you move here, you will definitely believe in karma once you move here. It's something about being on an island that it travels fast, especially Maui. Like Maui is something else. I mean, it's you see it firsthand. It's absolutely amazing. When I first came out here in the 80s as a young lad in my 20s, I'd heard about it and I kind of thought it like Eastern religion kind of thing. It didn't really take it to heart. And after living here, living off the land in particular for that time before I decided to stay and got a place to live and actually got a job at some point. It's a very real thing, and it's you have a real sense of community here too, in a sense of almost like you're living on a ship, because you're on this island, right? Everybody knows each other, and everybody's related to everybody else, and there's nothing faster than island radio. You've got to treat people right because everybody's going to know about it if you don't.
Blackfella communities like that, you can go all the way. I've spoke to many of old fellas. They will travel around doing these ceremonies, and then they'll take time out just to get away from everything. And they all tell me they'll go somewhere real remote and run into some other person that they know that's family or something. And it's like, I know it's a big country here, but it's still hard to get away from people.
Well,
I went all the way to Uluru and met someone up the road.
I think through these last couple of years, I think people have been reorganized into their houses, and they sit in these imaginary prisons and don't do the things they used to do anymore. Forgetting how easy it is just to go for a walk outside down at the, make an effort to go someplace else. Besides where you live, to take a walk in the woods, like it's free. You don't have to be around any other people if that's what if you don't want to be. You can just go over and be. I think these things that don't cost money that I think are more valuable than the things that that the society itself chases. In other words, we've talked about it before. It's like, it's pleasure seeking versus happiness. In other words, pleasure seeking is, more of an instant gratification, rather than happiness is just this thing that you can't buy happiness, but you can buy pleasure. And I think, we're a society that consumes pleasure seeking, whatever that means. I mean, however that the daisy chain works. In other words, you're pleasure seeking even when you go to the store and buy, your 15th pair of shoes or whatever. In other words, you can only wear one pair of shoes at a time, but you got all these different shoes because you want to be attractive in different outfits for people. You know what I'm saying? So it's this, it's this perpetuation of the consumption. Because we were talking about Bruce and I was saying to him earlier, I was saying, man, if you put the average worker puts 2,200 hours a year in for work, working 40 hours a week or whatever. So if you had a raw piece of land, something that you bought for some amount of money, you had a raw piece of land that you owned it now. You're never going to make a payment on it. You own it. You went out there and you put 2,000 hours into that piece of land. You'd be living in that house for the rest of your life, eating food that you're growing and, having animals there, some milk and, maybe some goats, whatever you're into, growing whatever you're going to grow. And once all those needs are met, you got your shelter, you've got your food source. What's there to do all day? I mean, yeah, you got to chop wood or whatever, you got to do stuff. But I'm just saying, at some point, think of how long a life of 80 years would be if you didn't have to be on a treadmill every day going to work. 12 hours a day sitting there in your little paradise or whatever. A day goes by, it doesn't go by that, like they do in the normal world. Time slows way down.
You're not on the clock, right? You're dictated by the mood and by the feedback you're getting.
Exactly.
Not by, there's nothing else that matters. I mean, unless you have something objective base you're trying to do before the sun goes down, then you're kind of aware of the sun. You're racing the sun. But otherwise, you're absorbed entirely in what you're doing.
That's what they did, is they put us on the clock, dude. That's how they did it. So when you're a kid, the bell rings and you get a 10-minute break. It's recess. The other bell rings, you go to lunch. You know what I mean? The clock is the enemy.
And to Jimmy, I was talking about this today actually. Gee, you're really intuitive, Jimmy. I was saying to a friend, when you go to work, they tell you your lunch time could be between 11:30 and 1:30. And I never did that, because you eat when you're hungry and you sleep when you're tired. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I got in trouble at work because I would eat my sandwich while I was doing my job, and then I'd have my lunchtime and go and rest instead of having my lunch.
Yeah.
But forcing us to eat at 11:30, which is your assigned lunch break at that job, it's not good for your body and it's not good for your spirit.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I worked, I never even ate. I couldn't eat. When I eat, I get tired. If I sat there and ate when I had all this stuff to do, I would never be able to get it done because I'd sit there and then I'm like, oh, man. The blood, everything starts to kick in,
Yeah, I'm like...
But what do you guys think about that? So Rock and Rio and Mountain Devil, what do you guys think about that, man? I think this is the first, the clock is the mechanism, it's the whipping stick that the man's been using on us, because, if you figure it all out, it doesn't pencil out, man. Even if you look at your donations to your retirement funds, here in America, if you had that money yourself and invested it yourself, you'd have like millions of dollars by the time you're gonna retire, instead of some like pissant like little squatch they throw you. Here's a little something, you know. Go get yourself some cat food or whatever. Live on that. I'm sorry. I got to put $5 in the bowl for being negative on that one. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist though.
Jimmy, come on. You might have 10 cats and that'll come in handy.
No, we're trying. We're trying not to. At least I'm trying not to, because it's Christmas. But you guys, what do you think about that? Is the clock the whipping stick for the man on the people for no reason? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, how much does an acre of land cost? You know, I mean, I don't think it would take too much to put that together. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the clock is definitely our enemy, and because once you are aware of it, you're fighting it, or the whole time. It's over your shoulder. It is the slave, what do you call it? The slave holder, or whatever we call it, with the whip.
Chains,
right?
Yeah, it's the chains and the whip. Exactly.
Because I mean, it is. I remember when I was a kid, about I think I was 7 years old, and there was a fire in San Diego. It was a huge fire back in the 70s, like 1971. Going through East County, San Diego, and my grandfather had a farm there in Lakeside, and I went there, and I used to see this horse all the time. But we drove through the fire to get there, this white horse, and feed him carrots that my grandfather grew. My uncles lived with him as well at the time, and so the smoke was coming through and stuff like that. And I don't know if I got overcome by the smoke or whatever, but I don't think so. I was giving the horse the carrots across the fence, from neighbor's property, and I could see the panic in the horse's eyes, and it took off because the fire was too close, right? And then I fell down. I laid down, and I just like with my back up, looking at the sky, and in the dark and in the smoke, I saw this image of these gears, like the interior gears of a clock, across the entire horizon of the up above me in the sky. And it's just my imagination, right? I don't know if I hit my head. Ominous to me as a 7-year-old kid looking up at that. And I think of that image today, and I think, that is exactly an awareness of what was to come, of how we get caught up in that clockwork universe, that slave to the clock mentality of the meshing of the gears. It was horrifying to me.
It's terrible.
Well, they do say time is money. And
Mountain Devil, I saw this really interesting drawing, and it was an old man and a child, and they were holding hands, and inside of each of their bodies was an hourglass, and the man's sand was almost gone, and the child's sand, the top of the glass was full. I just thought it was an interesting piece of art to look at, because I never really thought of it before, but that is really, I mean, like as you grow older, when you're younger, you've got all this energy, and you think that everything around you and what you're doing really matters, but you don't realize that how much bigger the world is than yourself, because you're just coming into the knowing of yourself as you're younger, getting older. But being where we are now, what do you think, Mountain Devil?
Well, actually, when I was younger, I didn't think I was doing anything for the world or anything. I was just I felt immortal. I was just having fun. And I felt immortal, and I just was full speed ahead and to the max. So
it's because because then time doesn't seem like it matters, right? It's like we got all the time in the world when we're younger, right?
It just didn't matter because of where I was, the situation I was. I didn't think about the tomorrow, or I was living the life to the full on the moment. I didn't have that span. I couldn't have that span, and because I knew that I couldn't have that span, I pushed that aside, and I just lived it to the fullest and beyond.
Well, lots of people had to change their lifestyles to be able to make it to this point. I mean, everybody that hears my voice right now, we all should be able to pat ourselves on the back that we made it to this point, because every single one of us has fought a battle to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, when you have, as you were saying, a piece of land and you're working, you may not be working for the man, so you don't have the 9 to 5, the clock, time is money, but you do have, it's a precious time, because if you're surviving from the land, you work hard, make no mistake. Anyone that thinks that's a beautiful dream and I'm going to sit back and the vegetables grow themselves and stuff, they got to think going if they think that they never have tried. It's hard work to keep land and all sorts of stuff going, but it's your own time, and it's a good time. It's a earthing time. You connect with the earth, you connect with the elements, you connect with where you're growing, and it connects with you. You spiritually are connected to it, so it's it becomes a time that is no time.
Well, plus you connect with each other and have kids, so they can go out and toil in the garden while you kick back and watch the sun go down on your nice deck with a nice espresso.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's, to me, if I'm building a utopia. Hey.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, well, listen. We've been rolling for a bit. Let's play a bit of music. Everybody to get something to drink or take a break or do what you got to do. And I'll play a little music and set some vibes going here on Aftermath FM.
Yeah.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, huh? All right.
Well, the first days are the hardest days, don't you worry anymore. 'Cause when life looks like easy street, there is danger at your door. Think this through with me. Let me know your mind. Whoa, what I want to know is, are you kind? It's a buck dancer's choice, my friends. Better take my advice. You know all the rules by now, and the fire from the ice. Will you come with me? Won't you come with me? Whoa, what I want to know. Will you come with me?
Let's see, if you're at a party at my house, this music be on the stereo right about now. Might be some cheeky lights hanging down patio. See, man, your lights gotta sound like that. Merry Christmas. Is Luna heading out? Much love to you, Luna. Merry Christmas. South to Mouth FM.
My mind is constantly racing, I'm forever just thinking about her. I know she with it because the sky's the limit. TLO constantly giving food for thought, what's the word? You know the world is a judge and they look at us like we bugging. Like keep my head out while I'm smoking this earth. Everybody got a story, fuck the fame, I want the glory. Got a team of warriors like I'm Steve Kerr. Say dance with me to the rhythm of love. Golly herb man mixed with the sound system. Me got some good karma, it's good marijuana. Come share with me, yeah. Golly herb man mixed with the sound system. Me got some good karma, it's good marijuana.
some good karma. It's good marijuana. Come and share with me, yeah. Cali herb man mixed with the sound system. Me got some good karma. It's good marijuana. Cali herb man mixed with the sound system.
All right, there we go. I got a little carried away, but I'm sure you didn't mind. Love some good music by a whole host of artists that I'll put in the description. Is anybody still here? Rio.
Yeah, us ladies are still here.
The ladies are here. Is Rio still here, or is it just me and you and the ladies? That was Epic Journeyman who was taking off earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said he was going to take off. You still there, Rio? Looks like it's just me and you, ladies.
Where's the cocktails, Jimmy?
Yeah. It's too bad we don't have the virtual cocktails.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, I was thinking while you were playing that music, laughter is the best medicine.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Best medicine for your daily life. Well, you know, there's a lot to healing. There's many levels to healing. But if you just want to, you know, a dose a day, it's good for you.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. It's a big part of my life. What were you going to say?
Absolutely. Music is very important. Resonance is healing. Resonance is whom we are. And resonance is so, so important. And we forget about that, you know. I love to. When I'm in the kitchen, I dance, I sing, I cook.
Would you say when a person loses their ability to dance and sing, that they've had some kind of something and that won't allow them? I mean, wouldn't you say dancing and singing are a part of a happy life? Isn't it? I mean, in other words, well, I would imagine there's singing that goes on, you know, when people are in pain, you know, obviously the blues, but I just mean in general, you know, being able to dance really is what I'm talking about. It's hard if you can't dance. It's hard to live a full life, wouldn't you say?
For me, dancing, music in general is important, but dancing is very important. Even if I'm in pain, if I'm in a lot of pain, I often end up getting up and dance and move. And the dancing and the music and the move itself is a healing, and it brings you up, you know.
Well, maybe Luna, maybe you can jump in on now. Is there particular you know, devotional dancing that's done to clear yourself, to clear your energy fields, and to, you know, get yourself, you know, in tune with the rhythms of the earth, this type of thing?
Yeah, well, what we do traditionally, and anyone can do it, like just go outside, because what we'd do, we'd have a fire or a dancing circle, and we'd all stand around it. One of the fellas would play the didge, someone would jump in and clap sticks, and we'd all take turns. You know, like them modern day ones where everyone's in a circle, everyone takes their turn and runs in and does a dance. We do something similar, but our dances are kangaroo dance, eagle dance, you know. They're based on the mother and all the animals and the trees. But anything will do. Like some people go, I can't dance. It's about the movement. And if you sing and move, and you don't even have to say words, you just got to make a vibration or a sound. You can hum or chant and move, and it's intention, and it just makes the energy move and flow in the natural flow of things. I've always been a person, I can't just sit down and meditate. I call it moving meditation. I have to move. And even when I do healing or I do talks, anything to do with that energy, I have to move somehow. And I don't know if anyone's seen me on a show, but I'm always jumping around, because when I hit certain things, I just can't keep still. I've got to get that energy moving. And if I couldn't walk, my arms would be flying around, or my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to sometimes, I mean, that's a lot of times keeping that energy pent up inside of us, is part of what keeps people agitated and stressed out. To be able to let that energy flow through you and not get stuck inside of you and get all bunched up. And I think, people get bunched up in the modern world because they don't have a chance to really resonate with the frequency of the earth itself, by, going out and walking barefoot, even if it's cold out, I mean, I saw this thing. There's a movie. It's a documentary. It's really worth every minute of your time. And it was a guy. He was up in Alaska, and he just all of a sudden he just got like a wild hair up his ass, and he decided he was gonna bury himself in the dirt naked under his house in the middle of the winter. And he started grounding himself like this, and then he became really interested in this because he started to lose a lot of the pain that he had, some of the agonizing pain, that he had. And so he went around and he talked to some scientists, and he was able to put something together where he put a program together where he got some money to make these devices. Okay, he took this idea in his little town in Alaska. Then he passed out these devices that he made. Now, these devices were, in America we have, the electric system. There's two, places where the power comes out, and one of the holes is for grounding. And so every house has to be grounded this way for your electrical system and all this. So the thing is, he made this device that you plugged into the grounding hole on your electrical system. And so, and with a wire that attached to your toe. And so everybody in the town started grounding themselves every night when they were going to sleep. And literally what happens is literally miraculous. Miraculous. People, this one old man, I swear to God, I'm about to tear up right now. I swear to God. Because there's a part in the movie where this old man, he's been in agonizing pain, like in this wheelchair and stuff, and he literally gets up and walks in the movie. Just simply from grounding yourself. So, I mean, you can see native peoples, their connection with the earth is way different than man or modern man, even in the sense that most modern civilizations, people are walking around with rubber shoes on. So
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
Well, here, why don't you guys jump in? I didn't mean to sit there and go on and on about that, but I'm trying to remember what the name of that documentary is. I'll try to remember why you guys are.
I was just gonna say that about the rubber shoes because it really insulates you, and I love, absolutely love going barefoot. Obviously, where I am, can only do that summertime and stuff, but whenever I can do it, I do it. But I grew up really up when I was up in the mountains and stuff. I was always barefoot, and you get used to it. Excuse me. And it's really, really good for you. And for those who, only have a small garden, and if you live in the northern hemisphere where it's cold and you can do it only in spring and summer, do it. Even if it's just sitting down on your lawn, with your feet touching the floor for a minimum of half an hour, it starts having that exact effect that you were just saying. It's just people don't do that. People are almost scared of walking barefoot. And it's very, very important. The hugging of the tree, the joy, laughter, having fun, just being silly, I used to have a boyfriend. He used to go with me, and he had this T-shirt made with an arrow pointing towards me, and it said, not with her. And it was because I used to hug trees and stuff like that. So he used to stand next to me like, not with her, because he was embarrassed. He wouldn't do it himself.
Well,
and he always used to say, why'd you have to do that all the time?
well, I mean, I live up here in the redwoods in Northern California. It was one of the few places where they grow. So, I mean, there's a lot of tree hugging that goes on up here.
Oh, I love tree hugging.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's interesting too, Luna. I don't know if you know this, but and Mountain Devil and the audience, that you know the redwoods, when the fog comes in, the redwood forest here, it holds the fog over the trees. It holds the fog there over itself, and it gets all the water out of the fog until it gets everything it needs, and then it lets it go. And it does it with, I'm imagining I'm pretty sure it's the ionic force of the trees that holds the fog, but I'm not 100% on it.
We got a similar thing in the Blue Mountains. On certain days the mist sits the same, and because of that, when the sun comes out, because the eucalyptus trees are blue, eucalyptus is blue in spirit colour, and the eucalyptus trees give off a blue hue in the sun, and that's why they call them the Blue Mountains, because of that moisture and sun effect.
Wow.
And the other day, I had the fortune, I was on my bike, and there's a point where you hit a hill and you can see the whole mountain range. And fair dinkum, Jimmy, I have never seen it that crystal clear. It was like a blessing. It just told me that what is to come is beautiful, because I've never seen it that crystal and that beautiful blue. It was that azulea blue, you know, that beautiful, don't know how to describe it, that holy blue, you know. It was beautiful.
Do you have the rainbow eucalyptus there? They're beautiful.
Yeah.
I love rainbow eucalyptus. I love them.
We have a different take on trees, and we see people hugging trees. We have a little laugh, but it's okay, because it's like a child cuddling the mother's legs, because we sleep under trees.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it. Like a tree might call to us and we'll have a need to go and spend a night and sleep under that tree. We got trees where one black fella out in the bush, this particular tree would get heroin addicts, and he'd get them to sleep under the trees, and it'd cure them of their addiction.
That's good.
And
It's almost like they suck the poison out of the person. Like they suck the toxicity or the negative energy, if they're charged negative energies.
Yeah. And what you're talking about, putting your feet on the ground, I got 100,000 stories I could tell you where I've been in the desert, in the bush. I've travelled around no matter where I am, and the mother has literally ripped my shoes off or melted them off my feet and made me walk barefoot.
Wow.
And I've just thrown, it's happened so many times. So she's telling me I'm not supposed to wear shoes when I go in certain places, and all the community laugh at me because I always run around with no shoes. But the mother will take your pain. She'll take your emotional pain. If you lay on her when you're having emotional pain, and if it's coming from your belly or your heart, lay on her, put your heart and belly on her and tell her what's ailing you, and she will instantly take it away. It truly works. And her physical, like when you're saying the guy was buried, lay on the dirt. It will take your physical pain. It will align everything to the natural way. And make sure it's clean dirt, though. You don't want chemicals. See, what we're fighting are the chemical up-to-date world, and all the way they live is opposite. They want to cut the trees down, and they want to dig in the dirt and put stuff on the dirt that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, no, I don't think there should be any tree cutting. It's like when at my house, I don't even cut branches off trees. I take and I push branches. I train the trees or the bushes. You know what I mean? Like if something gets too long, I don't even like cutting it. You know, because I heard this. It was interesting. I was chatting with Bruce about. He was, turning me on to this channel that was talking about this near-death experiences, and I was telling him that the only one that I remember that was I heard on a late night radio talk show, which was which was Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, and this guy was on there, and he described this. This was before cell phones and wireless cordless phones, and he was on his phone at his house, and lightning struck the telephone pole, and the energy went down the wire, down the phone, and electrocuted him, and he died. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is the moment why I'm telling you the story, is because he said when he was floating around up on, above himself, looking down at himself, and he said that he noticed that the plants, the house plants in the room, were very upset and disturbed. Like, he could see that they were very upset. And I never forgot that story, just simply because after that, there's this awareness that, these plants are more than just these plants. I mean, that they're actually something that's very important, and I think they're sentient, if you ask me. But not in the same way that maybe you and I and Luna talk here. But I mean, I'm just saying they're sentient in an energetic or a frequency type of way. They can tell if you're, if you've been bad or good, kind of thing, like Santa Claus almost.
Yeah. Animals do too. They're on the same frequency. You've heard of that Hertz music that's played on the frequency of the nature and healing music?
Yeah.
It's about frequencies, yeah. And the trees, if you look at it from a spiritual point of view and not physical, you can see their life, and that's why we call them tree people. They just don't walk, like you said, they don't talk and walk like us. Mm-hmm. But they still feel, and they grieve when they fall. They recognise you. If you've had a tree when you were young and it's near you and it's watched you grow up, and you go away and come back, it will miss you because it's known you all your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I for myself, I experienced tree as ants, ancient beings, especially the very ancient, very old trees. I had this experience with a beautiful tree. I was out sort of meditating, and suddenly connected with this beautiful tree, and she allowed me to see her most beautiful inner world. So my eyes started to see all her fluorescent life, all her spirit life. I started to see her veins flowing, and all the way up onto the branches and the leaves. I started to see the cycle of it, including all the way up to the top, to some of the leaves that needed to be released, and a little spark happened, and the leaf would fall, and it showed me how it falls, but it's dead but not dead, and it goes back into the tree, into the soil, and the way the whole was happening. And I just had these tears flowing down my face, and it was so beautiful, so humbling, because of what she was showing me, what she was sharing with me. She shared a lot more than that. And so I have this connection with trees myself, and but it's not just trees. The mycelium, the plants, the mushrooms,
So I mean, the whole floor of the forest is
absolutely.
Is almost like it's a monitoring system. Like one tree knows if another tree needs water.
Absolutely.
This type of thing. It's an go ahead. And mushrooms growing out. I mean, mushrooms are they're almost like a some sort of a sensor. The forest floor. Go ahead, you guys come on in here.
They are very, very important, the mushrooms. The mycelium is everywhere. I mean, actually, even for the bees need, not many people know that, but the bees actually need the mushroom, the mycelium, and all that. The trees need it too. The whole forest is an ensemble of what there is there. It's literally cosmic moment in time happening there continuous. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful when you can sit and join with that. It's very magical. It's very beautiful.
It is. It can be. I'll tell you a little story. We had a property at the base of a mountain, and this mountain is known for the place where Bayami, which we call Creator God, landed. And it's a flat top mountain, and I always said those flat top mountains are just giant trees. Anyway, we had a cabin facing it, and one day my husband, he spent the day there. I don't know what I was doing. I don't even think I was there that day. When I got there and I saw him, he said, the bush, he said, it moved as one and came out to greet me, and it scared him because of the immenseness of the power. It wasn't a negative thing, it was just immense. And I'm like, oh wow, I hadn't experienced anything quite like that. I have my own way of experiencing things. Anyway, about a week went by and I found myself alone on the property, and I'm just sitting on the grass looking around, singing, and just, being at one. And the next thing, the whole thing moved as one and came out to greet me. And I tell you, I understood what my husband was saying. It was amazing, it was beautiful, but it was scary because of the immenseness of it. They all move. It's like something you see on TV, like it just moved as one.
Yeah. I've experienced that actually. I was on this amazing walk in the country, and I had been doing similar to you actually. I was meditating, but walking, meditating. I was with the eagles. I was with nature itself. And as I was going past this, there was not a little bit of wind, nothing at all. But suddenly all these trees and bushes and everything, they were moving. The whole thing was just kind of, wow, it was, as you say, it was almost scary, but then you felt that, no, it's okay. It's interacting with you. And it was all suddenly came alive. And it was like, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I had another time. I don't know if you're aware, we have male and female areas. So we have men's business areas and women's business areas. And when I first moved to where I am, I was unaware that just down by the river was a men's business area. And I took my dog, which was a girl, and my daughters, I had 4 of them, they're all daughters. And they were little. Some of them were little and some of them were running. So we went round for a walk by the river, didn't we? Headed straight up for that area. Went for this beautiful walk, and then all of a sudden we all stopped. Even the dog stopped. We just stopped and went, there's something wrong. And as we turned around, we saw the trees cover the pathway, and it looked like we were somewhere else and we couldn't get out. And the dog turned around and went, like she was worried. She had this worried look on her, and it was the dog I rely on to get us out of the bush sometimes because they've got better senses. And I looked at her, realised that she saw what had happened and there was no way out. The girls felt it and they said, Mum, what's happening? And I said, it's okay. And then it dawned on me, shit, I'm in men's area. So I just called out, I'm sorry, I was unaware, and paid my respects. And as I said that, then the trees and everything pulled apart and you could see the pathway again, and the dog just ran out, and I said, come on, girls, let's get out of here. And I don't go there anymore. So he was telling me, if you come in here, you're going to get lost because it's not your place.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Wow. I lived here in the redwoods for almost a decade, in the canopy, like in the trees, and it was right. It was when there was the weather was like super hot. It was when back when they were claiming there was global warming. Right before it started to cool. But anyway, there was a lot of sun, and I got used to being in the trees, and I'd go out of the trees, and it'd be like I was being scorched by the sun, But this summer, I noticed around my house, because I live in a different zone So I'm still in the redwoods, but I have different. I'm in a different microclimate. So there's oaks also. So there's a combination of different trees here. And I started to notice that this oak was losing leaves, and it shouldn't have been. It was like losing leaves like it would in the fall, but it wasn't the fall. It was in the middle of the summer. And so I started looking at these leaves and I started wondering about the trees and the sun right now, and what's going on with the sun now. Does your tribe have anything going on or anything to say about the sun or anything going on with the sun now, Luna?
Well, the sun has moved, and we're all aware of it. Because what's happened? How can I put it? All right. So this is a plan of many, many years. So we're going back probably 15 years ago. I met some of the elder men, and we had a really bad dust storm, and we've had another one since then. That was when we had the fires that came before the floods. And I was lucky enough to be with them, and we were all watching it roll in Sydney we were, and they all turned around and smiled at me, and because we all knew it was a healing thing, it's a cleansing thing, right? And they knew, and they'd go around and sing in certain spots, and the whole thing was to bring in what's coming now, where the mother's moving, she's adjusting, and we just move with it, but it's supposed to happen. And the unfortunate thing is that today's society, they're cashing in on the natural things like they always do, right? And they are trying to interfere with it and make it work their way, but it won't happen. It never does, because the mother is all very powerful like Creator. But we're aware of it. The change is coming, and most of it is spiritual, Jimmy. It's like, physically we can see that the plants are changing. Like here where I am, there's an overabundance of everything. The trees last year and the last couple of years are fruiting more than once. There's abundance. That tells me there's a fruitful way coming. And but we don't see it physically because of everything else that they've given us, all that brainwashing and all that negative stuff they want us. They want us to be negative and move into that vibration, when the real vibration that's coming is a spiritual one, one like we all talk about. We know how to live. We know that we live with our neighbours and we share and care. We're not silly. We all want peace. We're at a crossroads at the moment, and the signs are the sun, the signs are the wind, the signs are the land. They're all signs telling us this time is coming, get ready. And it isn't so much a physical ready, because with the mother and anyone that's intuitive, you know that you get a little warning that it's coming, and then when it comes, you're right there in the present, ready to go, and you know exactly what to do.
Well, I'm hoping for an evolution rather than a revolution, because I'm sick and tired of going around and around and around. I think we're on the wrong track, because I think naturally, only as many people as the land could support would be born in an area naturally. Because you could only, however much food could be grown and how much you could do would only supply a certain amount of people. But when you have this false sense of supply in an area that's not capable of sustaining itself from an agricultural standpoint, so there's this built-in interdependence with our world, to where we can live in these cities and work there for the man, but the thing is, the city cannot exist without people bringing things there for people to eat. There's nowhere for people to grow food. I think the way society's been set up, it's set up specifically to keep people from realizing that 2,000 hours puts them in a house, for the rest of their lives. I mean, that's, and there's plenty of space for everybody, but we're all conglomerated into these areas, So, I mean, I think if you could figure out how to take current technology and make yourself available that way, in other words, hey, what's up, One Crazy Ray? Good to see you, bro. If you could sustain yourself in ways that weren't possible for example, you can have a atmospheric water generator for yourself. I mean, that's kind of a fancy way of saying a dehumidifier. You know, because most of the atmosphere is water. I mean, no matter where you are, there's water that could be drawn out of the air. So, I mean, that's the biggest problem with people going and finding land, at least around here. So, I don't know what it's like in Europe. It seems like Mountain Devil, seems like in Europe, if you wanted to, you could just go to Spain or Italy, and there's just these super cool, beautiful homes just laying there with nobody living in them. You can get them for almost nothing.
No, it depends on what country you're speaking of. But there are plenty of empty villages that you can buy into a place there. Not necessarily virtue for nothing, but they are beautiful. They need a bit of TLC. They need love, and they're virtually abandoned.
Now, this is an idea that makes sense. See, the way to do something is to find a really sweet abandoned town.
You got it, Jimmy.
And then do a GoFundMe and everybody chip in and just buy that town. And everybody just goes there. Boom! I mean, you could do it.
Like, Jimmy, me and my husband, when we were younger and the kids were young, we travelled a lot.
Yeah.
We met a lot of hippies, we met a lot of kind of people, and they all like, we want to make a commune, and we want this and we want that. And we actually looked at it, and we looked at the nature of people. You got to be realistic, right? We're all different. We all like a little space, and
yeah.
We looked at the nature of people, and we realised that the way a community used to be, like even for my people, we live by certain things. Like we wouldn't look at people in certain ways, and we're trained to do that, so we could live in a community. But the way people are today, it's not possible. They have to be retrained. But to start it off, they're not. So we thought the best way to find, because in Australia there's heaps of towns, old ghosty towns,
Is there really?
Or towns that are going broke. Yeah, towns that are going broke. And
oh, man. See,
that's what we realised. That's what we do. We resurrect the towns, and we make each town self-sufficient.
Yeah, because the thing is that, between solar technology and now, with Elon Musk putting up this satellites, you basically you could have high-speed internet no matter where you are. So there's absolutely no necessity to live in these congested areas. You could literally, go start a different way of being, have a different purpose in life. Because, I mean, the thing is like, the thing is in these kind of type of this idea is in these kind of communities, it's like back in the day, someone, there'd be a town and people would be living there and somebody go, well, who's the blacksmith? And, there wouldn't be one, so somebody would, become one. You know what I mean? Or one would show up or whatever. It's like the skills that each of us carry, that you could bring to a situation, that you could come in there, set something up, and leave, like you said, and go to the next place.
Our culture is based on that, Jimmy. That's why when we have names, it tells you who you are. So they know that I'm the healer and I'm the weaver. So if they need something woven, I'll go and sit with the weaving women. That's my job. Or if they need healing, I can go and assist the healer. I'll go to the healer piece. Yeah, that's my job. Just like you're saying, everyone's got jobs. Unfortunately, I think a lot of trades are waning, but they can be learned and taught again. And there's houses out there, they might need a little tweaking. Like in a town, you're going to have how many houses, depending on how big the town is. Mm-hmm. People aren't silly. You got the young fellas there, they want to learn how to fix it. And the older fellas go, all right, we're going to fix this house today, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is in a situation like that, the sky's the limit, because, I mean, honestly, at this point, with the way things are going, they'll probably be able to have you. I mean, no matter where you are in the world, I mean, even if you're in the middle of the bush, you're going to be able to make a phone call to Amazon and order something and have a drone literally drop it on your property.
Oh, that's scary.
I'm just saying, all the reasons to keep you from being out in the with nature, and, you know, having a different lifestyle, all those reasons are getting erased. In other words, a lot of times people would go, well, man, you know, I'd really like to move out away from the city, but I need my, you know, I have to have my high-speed internet for whatever reason, you know.
Actually, that's it, Jimmy. It's what do you need? What you need and what you want are two different things. You were talking early in the show. I call it taste buds. One's your taste buds. That's what you want. The other one, the nutrients that your body needs, is what you need. And your taste buds will make you buy those extra pair of shoes. Your taste buds will go, oh, I need my internet, or I need my flashy house, or whatever. I found 100 people will agree that the less you have, the happier you are, the less you got to worry about, as long as you got your necessities.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting documentaries about people, opal miners in Australia, and how they live inside of these dugout opal mines.
I've been there, Cuba Petey. Is that where you're talking? Yeah, I've been there on our travels. We actually went there, and I met some stories I got from there. That'll make another show. But yeah, I've been there. We went in. It's beautiful to live underground. That's the other thing. Why we don't have to live above the ground. Like, you can live underground in certain places, and there are places where you can hide your house halfway in the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to make it all ugly. But out there, yeah, all you need is a bit of money, buy a plot of land, and hire someone to dig, and you can have a house with as many rooms as you want. You just keep digging. And if you come across opals while you're digging your house, good on you. It's yours.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's interesting too, because a lot of the people that were in these areas, it stays a constant 70 degrees when it's like 150 degrees outside or whatever, and they're in there, and you know, it's just so. And the opals that they were pulling out on some of these mines, I mean, some of the beautiful stones that are coming out, it's just absolutely wild, man.
As you're driving in and out, there's all these signs that say, watch out for the holes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's holes everywhere. There is, from everyone digging. So you got your part where they've dug to live in, and that's near the town, and they're all around. You wouldn't even know they were there, Jimmy. If you just to stand on the edge of town and look, you'd just see some shops and that, and then dirt. But when you actually go into town, you see the doorways and all that lead into underground. And some of the restaurants and that are underground, and it's developing, because this was a long time ago that I went.
So now
it's developing.
So now these towns, they used to be something going on out there, and it's like here in America we have like the Wild West. You guys had something like the Wild West going on there, where people went somewhere but then they all left. So you can get a hold of towns in Australia.
Yeah, a lot of what's happened as progress has moved along and destroyed everything. They've made a lot of the roads and bypassed towns.
Oh, the roads.
The old highways used to go to the towns.
Right.
So originally the old highways, I'll tell you, this is a bit of history, were our walking pathways. And when they came, a certain mob showed them our walking pathways and how to get up and down the coast over the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they did that, then they put the bullock roads in. Then they made roads and for the carts. Then all of a sudden, I don't know, in the 90s, somewhere in the 90s, bang, all of a sudden, big highways like yous got over there, and we bypassed all the little towns, which meant they went broke. There was no work, so a lot of them had to move away. So there's a lot of empty houses, which means the town's going to die, because the mainstream people are all bypassing it to the big town. So there's lots of towns dying. They're unfortunate.
So now, do they have like wells and stuff? There's water already there. Everything's there, but people
established. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A lot of them have got schools, a doctor. Some of the, it depends on the town. A lot of the small ones will have a mini town next to them where you'll have like maybe 15 houses and that's it. But then you've got a bigger town that'll have the doctor and a shop. So they got the necessities.
Yeah. See, that's all you need, because
about it until now.
you used to have to, like I was saying earlier, a lot of this future technology that we don't like is going to make a lot of things possible that weren't possible before. Like, for example, you used to have like a store, in some place where people could go buy the things they need. But now they can just buy the things they need with the new current system with your phone and everything else, and delivery. It's like FedEx and all these places. They don't right now. They don't have drones, but I mean they have trucks. I mean these guys go anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd go to a ghost town in Australia.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
But after we hang up tonight and later on when I'm eating, I'm gonna take a look and see if there's any videos on old ghost towns. I'll tell you one thing I noticed though is these. Hey Angela, what's going on? Hey John, hey Bernays Sauce. I noticed that in Australia there's a lot of these older cathedral type buildings, and that there's a whole thing going on with like underground portions of the city where it just goes for miles and miles, and this old tech is there, these cathedrals.
There's places all over. It's very intuitive again, because I was only talking about that yesterday. Me and Donnie were talking about it, and I was saying to Donnie, I got taken in a dream by some aunties to Sydney, and they showed me the underground river there and the underground tunnels, and there's a special flower that grows there. And the other day someone put out a little documentary talking exactly, not about the flower and that, but talking about the river under the Sydney and the tunnels. And my people know there's certain caves all over Australia, and we say those caves, we don't go there because they lead to the underground and other things live there.
Yeah.
Right? But obviously in modern day, they've met them and repurposed them or joined them. I don't know what they've done. But yeah, they're there. It's true. It's true that underground. And those buildings, me and Donnie often said, we've looked in the bush lots of times, and what we found looks like blown up, melted, old-fashioned stone buildings, right? And you look at them going, it doesn't belong here. But what we've found in the last couple of years with all our research is they're not telling us the truth. They do belong there. And where we find all those things in the bush, the hairy mans are always around, and there's water, the hairy man, and then there's some sort of weird stone structure that either looks like a stone person or a building that's been melted, or caves left over from the building that used to have underground places,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting that, the more I look at it, the more it seems that at least modern history, man's modern history doesn't go back as far as they say it does. You know what I mean? I think it doesn't go back that far. Modern man. I think it's just basically from the Industrial Revolution forward that they took, that something happens, and that whatever happens, people, you got to start over. And I think a lot of people in areas such as yours, I mean, all over the world, there seems to be, no matter where there's a city, no matter where there's a major industrial area or area of commerce, that very same area has got all kinds of cathedrals and underground facilities in it, tunnels that go everywhere. And it's everywhere in the world. It's not just in one place. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. We should talk about that sometime, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, so did Donnie's truck got washed away in the?
Oh yeah, poor darling. It was really funny because the night before I rang him up and it was really late, and I'm thinking, what am I ringing him up late for? And he was just about to go to bed, and he said, I said, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know. I just had to ring you. We had a bit of a yarn, and I just told him to take care and hope everything's all right. I don't know why. And then the next day he rings me up and goes, I went to Tamworth to pick up my son, and on the way home, we saw a wave of water down the creek, and we realised it was heading for a house. By the time he got there, it picked up his caravan, picked up his ute, which is a flat top truck thing, and took it away. And his mates and the council come, and they kept driving until they found it, and they found it way, way, way away from his house, the poor fella.
Well,
So if you,
Mountain Devil. Now, are you close to any cathedrals where you are?
No, not where I am. I'm sort of pretty much in the middle of the country. No cathedrals here.
Have not?
But where I grew up, well, one of the places I grew up, there was a big old castle dating back to and beyond the moors, and there was some very old cathedrals and churches. And when I was a kid, I found me and my gang. I had a little gang
Mhm.
of kids. We found from the castle. We found some. Well, we opened up something that we found and went into it, and there was loads and loads of passageways all through the city that we went and discover. It was kind of freaky but fun at the same time because we were kids, and it was kind of dangerous to have discovered that and go in there. One of the times we came out, we went through one of these passages and came out. Well, we didn't actually popped out, but we came up to a point that we were under a church. Where we could see the mass happening. We could see through some holes. We could see the church where we were underground.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm right up here by San Francisco, and so there's a big underground San Francisco, and there's a lot of cathedrals there too. But one of the things I noticed about these cathedrals is that the seating arrangements. This doesn't feel to me, that the current religions that have taken control of these cathedrals doesn't feel right. That because the seating doesn't look right. I mean, everything else is so grand and perfect, and then you have these crappy wooden benches that you sit on. It seems to me that even if you would have had wooden benches, they would have been a lot more intensely ornate than just these plain wooden benches.
Well, we know that history goes way back. Even beyond Atlantis and so on. We know we as beings, human beings, we are ancient. Truly ancient beings. We just have fallen into forgettingness and also have been conditioned to a certain extent to keep us in that forgettingness. And also have, to a certain extent, given into that for our own comfort and our own sometimes laziness, because we can't always keep pointing at the blame is on the other side. We also have to take some accountability for not everyone, of course, but a big majority of human beings have just very happily just complied and forgotten about it, and just very easily not questioned anything, just taken what it was given to them and say, okay, that's it, and don't question it. Even when you're a kid, you're at school, you get told, don't stop daydreaming, don't do this, don't do that, be like this, be like that. And that's how you start getting conditioned more and more, and you start losing what you are, because as a kid you're still very much in contact with oneness, with everything, with all possibilities that is you. And your remembrance of whom you are, spirit, soul, eternal, on a journey, is always within you. It's in your DNA structure. It's everywhere, in every single cell of your body. And you can remember it anytime you so choose to. Of course, you're going to have to work on it. The more removed you are from that whom you are, the more work you have to do to connect with it, of course. That goes without speaking, really. But it's all there, and I think it's happening. I think I saying all this, and regardless of all the negative stuff, I think, we are truly going through a birthing canal, and this birthing canal is difficult and it's noisy, it's chaotic, like all birthing canals. But on the other side, depending on our choices, collectively, depending on our choices, not just collectively, but every single one of us, we are going to have a much better place, because we live on this beautiful planet. This mother is a living planet, and she's evolving, and anything that is on it has to evolve with it, has to grow with it. It's just nature, the way it works. And for us to evolve with Mother Earth and the cosmos around us, we have to open our hearts, we have to open our mind and our heart-mind coherence, and just lose fear. Fear is the shackles. Love is the freedom to be. So it's about losing the fear and embracing that whom we are. That's how I see it. And have joy,
That's exactly right. Joy to the world. Luna, did you have some final words before we head on out down the road?
Oh yeah, I'll leave you with something interesting and then something really nice. So them big buildings you're talking about, in our culture we have giants. There were giants here, and it spurred me to go looking around the world to find any evidence of other giants, and I run into those big buildings that are now churches. And if you look inside them, and you're right, Donnie, Jimmy, they are too big for what they've purposed them for. And in them you'll see a place where there's stairs and like a little balcony where someone would stand, and they'll tell you that's where the priest stands, and it's not. This priest stands up front at the altar. That was where you stood when you wanted to talk to a giant, because you had to move up towards their head for them to hear you better, and they would sit in there because they're giant. They would sit in there and you could talk to them through that. And they made all the buildings nature friendly, all the roundness and the shapes and all that were all with the elements. The wind would blow and the energy in the air would activate, and it was a whole different thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I said, that's something we can talk about in the future.
Yeah, we definitely would want to talk about that, because recently I've been noticing, and was interesting because I saw a bunch of pictures of giants basically around the time of the Industrial Revolution. But what was interesting to me, and the reason that I'm talking about it right now, is because I noticed on some Egyptian wall carvings, these giants who were standing with one arm sticking straight out, and the men that were there were below that arm, and you could see how far away that arm was from the top of the men's heads. It wasn't that the men were small. It's just that that it was clear that this carving, Egyptian carving, was giants. And so I was looking at all these Industrial Revolution pictures of giants, and putting out like they were freaks of nature or something. I'm sure it was why they were still around. But they were standing with one arm out, just like those Egyptian carvings were.
Yeah. Sorry, Martin.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Sorry, you go.
I asked the question because I've been looking at this for a long time. What happened to them all? They went to war. When we had the World War I and World War II, any big people that were left, they sent them out in the front line. And the rest of them, I don't know, I get this feeling that they went and hid in one of those caves we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. There's also a lot of evidence around the world of red-haired giants that are these mummies.
Absolutely.
There's mummies in China that they found that are they're red-haired giants also. I mean, so it's literally around the world, and just like this architecture. Because when you think about it, and you think about these buildings and how big and how tall we are as people, and you think of how much building there is above your head, In other words, why would someone of our stature build a building and spend that much time and energy and money on building that building with that much space above your head that's unusable? You know what I mean? It's nothing. The only reason it's there, according to history, is for you to look at. And I, honestly, don't you more find resonance with the fact that that's what it is. It's a resonance generator. That when you're in there, in certain cathedrals, that when you go in there and everybody's singing a certain note, that you could literally use that frequency and unlock the stairway to heaven. And that's the connection between the two. Would you guys entertain that as an idea?
Yeah. Yeah, I would, Jimmy, and I'll tell you something else. When they first go and look at them buildings, there's always a giant organ. Like, the organ is that so giant. Like you said, someone our stature wouldn't spend all that money. The progressive mind of the today wouldn't see it profitable. So, and often they would take some out and put a smaller organ in to cover it. Like, they've done a lot of work on these buildings over the years to take it away, but you can't do that. It's written in the spirit of the earth, and it just comes back. But the resonance, the hertz, it's a power of its own.
Well, I want to thank everybody who's contributed to the show. Thank you so much for all your contributions. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank both of you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And
thank you, Luna, and thanks everyone as well.
Nice to meet you, Mountain Devil. Hope you can talk again.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll make sure I'll pass you guys connections so you guys can contact each other outside of the show. And so I want to thank everybody, wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And, maybe, if there's a slight chance that your future depends on what you think, then maybe, there's possibility that that's true. And if you think it's going to be a bad year, then maybe your year will be bad. But maybe if you think it's going to be a good year, the year will be good. So I'm leaning for the year to be good for everybody. And I wish you all the best. Peace and love in all your celebrations tomorrow and today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks, Mountain Devil. Thanks, Luna. Hope you guys have a great today. Enjoy yourselves.
Generation of impatience, with the definition of our hatred, with the mimic hypocritic cynics seen it all, only in it for an instant, so we never call. My mama hasn't heard my voice, it's been days. Raise our minimum wage, so we never stray too far. Embrace the fake, so we never change, never grow to know who we really are. Out come the wolves, Wall Street count sheep, sleep good. California kings, Hollywood's Robin Hoods. We can understand what we never understood. You wanna change the world? Well, we could. You wanna change the world? Well, we could. Here we go. You wanna change the world? Well, we could.
We see government like it living and it breathing. We pay the taxes for the ceremony feeding. And we the people get everything we believe in it. We fund the war, but fuck the land, we really need in it. What if we love her in return the way she loved us? What if the earth was a temple and not above us? Like something every human that lived among us. Love as a mother, a daughter, a son. What? We are the one to make it different or the same now. Every day we make the choice of who we pay now. And if it's war that we choose, she cannot trust us. We separate from all that loved us. Yeah, we could.
Hey. You say you wanna change the world, but we could.
I know you should.
You say you wanna change the world, but we could. You say you wanna change the world, but we could.
It's all yours, so to take it. Oh, you take it.
Wanna change the world, but we could.
It seems to be something lingering deep inside. It's peace, love, and unity you never seem to hide.
It might as well be in really to these days. It's just this thing we call, yes, the new age. But it's no need to go ahead and run it hard. Oh, this one the thing that we got to love inside. Finally, we seen the change as well. Now we gonna save it all. We could. Oh, yes, I know.
Say you wanna change the world, well, we could.
I know you should. It's deep inside.
Say you wanna change the world, well, we could.
Yes, yes, sure.
You say you wanna change the world, well, we could.
Won't you say you should?
Hey, you wanna change the world, well, we could.
When do you feel closest to me?